Hello YouTube, Richard Daymeyer this side from our guest. And today we will be bringing you the top 8 facts about Northeast India that you might not have known. So we are keeping it at 1 fact per state, and let's not delay too much, so let's get right into it. Assam is popular for the one-horned rhinoceros, Kaziranga, the national park, and of course Majuli Island. But beyond that, did you know that there is a sacred lamp at the Vaishnavite monastery in Jorhat, Assam that has been burning for over 450 years? It was first lighted in 1528 in Dekiakhawa Bor Namghor and has been kept burning since then by the locals. So the Dekiakhawa Bor Namghar, where the lamp is located, was established by the saint reformer Mahadeva. And Namghar basically means prayer house, where the Assamese folk who follow Hinduism gather to pray. To a lot of people, Arunachal Pradesh is synonymous with Dbang, monasteries, snow and adventurous bike rides. But did you know that there is a wildlife sanctuary there as well? Dbang Wildlife Sanctuary is one of the 8 sanctuaries in the state. It is located northeast of Anini, which occupies a part of the eastern Himalayas. Dbang Valley is named after the Dbang River, which is a tributary of the Brahmaputra River. The altitude ranges between 1800 meters and 5000 meters. The entire region stretches around 4,149 square kilometers and is filled with lofty mountains, snow-covered peaks, deep gorges, forests and rivers. In the sanctuary, you can find snow leopards in the high altitudes, whereas clouded leopards can be found in the lower latitudinal regions. Along with these animals, there are a host of other flora and fauna as well. Among the animals, you can find red pandas, Asiatic black bears, tigers, and even panthers. Manipur is one of those states which is not frequently visited by tourists, but we would definitely recommend it. Why? Because in Manipur, you'll find a beautiful stretch of water known as the Loktak Lake. The Loktak Lake is famous for having fumins, which are those small masses of vegetation and soil floating on the lake resembling mini islands. The largest of these is 40 square kilometers. In fact, you can stay in floating homes when you visit the lake. Now, what would be better than a sunrise while floating on a boat? When you hear the word Meghalaya, what comes to your mind? No doubt it's got to be the wettest region in the planet. Along with having some of the most spectacular waterfalls around the region, Meghalaya is also home to spectacular green rolling hills, beautiful scenery and winding roads that every road trip needs. But beyond all this, what else does Meghalaya have to offer? A lot of people don't realize is that Meghalaya is also home to caves. In fact, there are more than 1,650 caves and cave locations in Meghalaya, of which 1,000 of them have been explored. Now, one of the most famous and not frequently visited caves in Meghalaya is called Krempuri. So Krempuri is an underground cavern and is more than 6,000 meters longer than a world record holder called Cueva del Saman in Edo Zulia, Venezuela, a quartzite sandstone cave measuring at 18.2 kilometers. So how long is Krempuri? Krempuri is actually the longest sandstone cave in the world, measuring at roughly 24.5 kilometers in length, and is known for its complex cave systems hidden under its undulating hills. It was discovered in 2016, but its actual length was found during expedition to measure and map it by the Meghalaya Adventures Association. Another beautiful state in Northeast India that is less frequented by travelers. The people of Mizoram are very beautiful, warm and kind-hearted. In fact, when you visit Mizoram, you'll be very surprised to see the kind of discipline that they follow, especially during peak traffic hours, where not a single citizen blows their horn, and in fact, even the two-wheelers stay in line behind each other and wait for the traffic warden to actually issue the signal to move on. So one of the most famous festivals of Mizoram is called Chapkut. Chapkut is celebrated in the month of March and is a very joyous festival of the Mizos. It is celebrated every year. Chapkut literally means a festival held during the period when the bamboos and trees that have been cut down are being awaited to dry, to be burned and jhuming. It is a very joyous occasion where hundreds of Mizo damsels and energetic young men dressed in their colorful attires all poised to perform the colorful Charao dance, thus heralding the start of the festival of the day. During the brief layoff period of jhuming, the Mizo ancestors could have all the time for themselves. They spent their leisure hunting games, fishing, etc. The Chapkut festival evolved sometime between 1450 to 1600 AD, where the Mizo forefathers who inhabited Nagaland. In the golden days, the festivals could last for days, and in the run-up to the grand finale, there are well laid out steps to be followed. Everyone in the village has a role to play, of course. The youth were most involved in every single stage of the preparation in the festival itself. Designed to be a festival of joy, all disputes and differences that may be there in the community should be settled. Even altercation between married couples was a taboo during the celebration of the festival. There was an abundant supply of meat, and home-brewed liquor would be overflowing in all the houses, keep the spirits high of everyone who celebrated. Everyone danced away all their cares and made merry all night long. So this sums up how Mizos celebrate Chapkut in the olden days, and in fact this kind of celebration where the joyous occasion and of leaving all the worries behind is still practiced to this day. A highly beautiful and very energetic festival, and we highly recommend that everyone visits Mizoram for this particular festival. When you hear about Nagaland, you're probably going to think about two things: the International Hornbill Festival and trekking to Zugu Valley. What if we told you there's so much more to Nagaland than just these two wonderful things? Situated about 10 kilometers from Kohima, there is a Naga heritage village, which offers you the opportunity to interact and understand the culture of the Naga people and the different tribes that reside in Nagaland. This place offers you a panorama of beautiful natural beauty all around, while engaging you with the cheerful and hospitable people of the village. The heritage complex consists of a cluster of 16 houses of each tribe, created in the indigenous typical architectural designs and concepts with significance. The tribal house is also called Morum or Youth Dormitory, and colorful life and culture are a vital part of all the 16 official recognized Naga tribes. They are all different and unique in their customs and traditions, and these customs and traditions are further translated into festivals. Songs and dances form a solid foundation of these festivals, through which their oral history has been passed down through generations. So if you ever get a time, do check out this particular heritage village, because it is there that you will actually be able to deeply immerse yourself in the cultural history of all the 16 different tribes of Nagaland. Have you heard about the floating wonder of Agartala? Nirbhal, meaning water palace, is located around 53 kilometers from Agartala. It was built by Maharaja of Tripura, Bir Bikram Kishore Teparma Manikya, as a summer palace. It was the king's idea to build the palace in the middle of Rudrasagar Lake, which boasts of beautiful architectural designs. The palace is built using a blend of both Muslim and Hindu cultures and traditions in their architectural design. It happens to be the largest and one of its kind water palace in India, and the one and only one in eastern India. It took around 9 years to build this palace that has 24 rooms inside. The eastern side of the palace has an open-air theatre which hosts cultural and public events, whereas the western side is for the royal family to reside. The water palace has beautiful gardens, fountains and a courtyard too, thereby creating the perfect ambience for some peaceful time. The exquisite architectural design and the watery ambience of this area is such a marvelous combination that infuses curiosity among the visitors. When you visit this palace, it will let you peep into the culture and history of Tripura. If possible, do try to plan your trip to this place during the festivals, as during that time the building is gorgeously decorated that adds to the grandeur of the palace. The palace turns into a beautiful sight during the night when its reflection can be seen on the water. You would just have to spare some time to wander around and take in the beauty. Siddheshwar Dham is situated atop the Solofok Hill, 5 kilometers southwest of Namchi. This temple complex comprises replicas of the highly revered Hindu pilgrimage sites, namely Rameshwaram, Dwarka, and Jagannath Puri. There is a towering 87-feet statue, a 6.5 long sculpture of Lord Kirateshwar, and the replicas of the 12 Jyotirlingas can be found here. And when you visit the place, the views and photo opportunities are absolutely spectacular. It was built by the government of Sikkim to promote Sikkim as an all-embracing and empathetic state in India and overseas. The entire area covers 28.958 hectares of land. And although the kind of air that fills the atmosphere of the four holy regions is missing from Namchi's Chardham, it is still a very popular tourist destination visited by the tourists from both India and overseas. This place is always abuzz with religious discourses, cultural activities, seminars, etc. You might be required to walk a fair distance without footwear to reach the place though. So that's about it from our side. We hope you enjoyed the information, and of course do check out ourguest.in if you are interested in visiting any of the northeastern states. And do like and subscribe, and we shall see you very soon. Take care.